So welcome to ladies' semi-final afternoon here at the Rod Laver Arena. The roof is on. The heat is certainly around today here in Melbourne. It's been building nicely over the last couple of days, and because of that, it has been deemed necessary to put the roof over. And that happened at 4-all in the opening set in the previous match. Kvitova through to the final here in Australia. Will she be followed by another Czech superstar, Karolina Pliskova, or by the person following her, Naomi Osaka?
Ladies and gentlemen, women's singles semi-final day continues right here on Rod Laver Arena. Would you please welcome from the Czech Republic, Karolina Pliskova. And her opponent from Japan, a Grand Slam champion, Naomi Osaka.
Naomi Osaka, one of the great sporting stories of the last 6 months. She really has risen to prominence with some of her displays, and of course the dramatic fashion in which she ultimately won her maiden Grand Slam title in New York. There it is, the tale of the day, with the mercury touching 40 degrees at the moment. Play on the outside courts has been suspended, understandably so, and the roofs are on. It should help both players compete to the maximum of their ability, and also far more enjoyable as well for the fans as well. New heat policy in place for this year's Australian Open. First time it's
Hello,
hit.
Karolina, this is Heidi. She's going to help us with the coin toss today.
5, and absolutely spot on from Tennis Australia that they have brought something as scientific into proceedings here that isn't open to any sort of guesswork whatsoever.
Hello, Naomi, this is Heidi. She's going to help us with the coin toss today. So, ladies, same conditions as usual. If you want to challenge, try to do it quickly. Returns are allowed, but then you have to stop immediately. After the 5-minute warm-up, you're going to have 1 minute of time to start a match. You have to be by the baseline in order to be on time. Okay? Any questions? No? Heidi, who would you like to ask for a choice? And it's A and Z. Your call. Sir, can I ask you for a photo together with Heidi, please? Facing this way. Thank you.
It's going to be fascinating to see how Pliskova comes out here after the drama of yesterday that unfolded against Serena Williams, and somebody that is going to be able to tell us exactly how she's going to react to that is Casey Dell'Acqua. Delighted to be back by your side once again.
Yes, me too, Mark. Looking forward to this match. Certainly looking forward to seeing, as you said, how Pliskova pulls up today in regards to a little bit of the drama and what unfolded yesterday, and also this new exciting talent, already a Grand Slam champion, in Naomi Osaka.
Well, of course, she knows how to get through to the finals of majors, as she did it at the US Open. She also knows how to get past her opponent, as she did that in the final of Tokyo late last year in 2018. So that will give her a little bit of confidence, and she may feel as though she's invincible, given the way that she came back from those 4 match points yesterday against Serena. Let's take a look at the workload for her, and that is a fair bit of workload that she's been putting in to get through to this stage, and one wonders whether that may have some sort of effect against Osaka, one of the biggest hitters out there on tour. She's going to be looking to try and get her running if she can. Birthplace Osaka, age 21. ranked currently 4 in the world, but of course, as everybody has been following the WTA rankings, potential to go to the world #1 spot at the end of this week. It would take either Kvitova or Pliskova to win the tournament, so it's in her hands. As we look at her history here, and of course going the farthest that she's ever been before. Wonderful run through in Indian Wells, beating 3 either current or former world #1s. That was the first sign of things going spectacularly well for her before the major triumph in New York. Also been working hard. She's had some bruising battles on her way through to the last 4, but she still stands. Here are the players' routes through to this particular stage, and as you can see, there have been sets dropped by both of them on the way through. Some very differing styles of players in there as well, Casey.
Yeah, absolutely. When you take a look at the side of Naomi Osaka, round 3 against Sue Hesh, set and 4-1 down, managed to find a way through that one. It wasn't easy for her. And then against Sevastova, she definitely had patches where she struggled through that match, but played great against Alina Svitolina. And Karolina Pliskova, for me, has been fairly impressive in majority of her matches. It's the serve, predominantly, that has got Pliskova to this point, as well as her discipline from the baseline, which I think has been a contributing factor due to the great off-season she had and the movement improvement that she has made.
Yeah, and also the cutting down of unforced errors. We see their series head-to-head. Pliskova, as I said, won that last match in Tokyo. They met in Indian Wells, which Naomi got the better of her there, 6-2, 6-3. Pliskova also won in Toronto 2017. I think that was by retirement.
It was. One love.
One love. They didn't change the scoring system just for that particular tournament. But yeah, I think also her unforced error count, which has been spectacularly low when you compare it to the amount of winners she's been delivering as well, has been impressive.
Yeah, particularly against the match against Muguruza. She actually hit 23 winners and only 3 unforced errors in that match alone. And for someone like a Karolina Pliskova, if she's serving well and she's limiting her unforced errors from the back of the court, she's pretty unstoppable and pretty hard to beat. So I agree, and I think that's partly to do with her improved movement and her, I guess, mental ability to realise that to play sometimes a little bit more high percentage shots. She's returned really well up through the middle before spreading the court. But this young lady, Naomi Osaka, she's on a 12-match winning streak at Grand Slam level, obviously coming off that US Open title, so she knows how to play at this stage of a tournament.
Much has been made of various players' tough times when they've tried to make it through, but of course Naomi as well grew up playing on public courts in Long Island for many years from the age of 3. Her father, Francois, who was inspired by the Williams systems at the French Open in 1999, he said, well, there was a blueprint, I just needed to follow it. Of course, her sister plays. At the moment, she's been hampered by some injuries. Naomi used to lose to her comfortably 6-love, but she is the superstar currently in the family, and she is the one looking to try and get through to her first Australian Open final.
Ready. Play. Mark.
Interesting to see if she continues with her return position. Obviously, she is somebody, Osaka, who loves to be very aggressive with her court positioning on return against this big serve.
Light for service.
A good start from Naomi Osaka from the back of the court. Short compact swing on top of the baseline. It will be interesting to keep an eye on her return position though, Mark, because it's very different when you're playing a big server. We'll see if she continues to stay up in the court or decides to take a step back just to give herself that bit more time.
You can see where she stands for the second serve. And maybe, just maybe, that threatening position just starting to trouble Pliskova early on. Look at her box there. Of course, her husband, who was uber excited, it has to be said, after that win over Serena, understandably so. Conchita Martinez in there.
I would say he was ecstatic yesterday.
I think you're right.
It was certainly a great win, wasn't it? There's Conchita Martinez in the white polo. Next to him is the fitness trainer Zula. Behind him you can see Renee Stubbs there doing that coaching collaboration with Conchita.
Advantage, Pliskova.
Tape on the knee isn't from the bruising battle yesterday. It was on there as she took on Serena. First time we'd seen it in the tournament. Well, after saving 4 match points yesterday against Serena Williams, saving break points, no problem at all for Pliskova. Obviously a hot day. Casey, we got the roof shut. Does it favour anyone out here, in your opinion?
In this type of matchup, I'm just not sure it favours one or the other. I feel like when you play an indoor match, Pliskova would have grown up playing in indoors. As we take a look at this, our favourite win predictor.
Got it right yesterday. Can't. Might not have been perfect, but none of us are.
Osaka, no, but the win predictor was pretty on target yesterday.
Love 15.
Sasha Bayan, who has done such a wonderful job with Naomi Osaka, his first turn as head coach. And you'll be wondering why he didn't do it earlier. Of course, he was former hitting partner, stroke trainer with Serena.
Love 13.
This is the part of Osaka's game that I'm a little concerned about today, is the second serve. Watched a few of her matches and her average speed on second serve has varied, but always around the 120 mark.
No such concerns around the ground strokes, though.
None. That's what she does a good job, even though the second serve can tend to be slow and sometimes be just sitting there in the middle of the box. She does a good job on the +1, absorbing pace, getting herself back on top of the point.
was a good test. Great return, great depth from Pliskova. Osaka redirecting beautifully. Well, in the chaos of the Kavanagh Stadium in New York, she served out the match against Serena Williams so fantastically well. So we will get a few more of those from her. One of the most impressive displays of self-control I've seen in recent years.
The most impressive thing for me for Osaka was how she's dealt with it post that. You see so many players tend to have a bit of a lull. Ostapenko after the French. Just, it's a massive transition when you win a slam, and Osaka has just dealt with it so fantastically on all levels.
Super authentic as well. She's very open, isn't she, at times in the press conference, which makes life easier. And as long as hopefully the press give her the leeway to be herself, and if she does say a few things that perhaps could be misinterpreted, don't, because it's been refreshing. Good example of what you were saying, Casey, about the second serve and Pliskova getting after it.
Yeah, no doubt. Conchita Martinez has scouted Osaka's matches and would see that it has been a little bit of a weakness at times during her matches, not all the time.
Advantage for second.
Could be worth a challenge, this.
Pliskova is challenging the call on the right baseline. The ball is called out.
Certainly worth a challenge.
Game Osaka. One game.
Good couple of holds.
Osaka has, Pliskova has 2 challenges remaining. $15
Fairly even off the backhand side, actually, these two in terms of pace, but Osaka has about 5 miles an hour on her forehand side, but she's quite smart with the way she trades, Osaka. She doesn't look to try and do too much too often. Pliskova also slightly surprising with her second serve speed, given her height, isn't she? She averaged for the tournament 128 Ks as well. I would have thought she would have been nearer 140.
Yeah, slowed the racket face down there on that second serve, but there is a big difference from both of these players in regards to their first serve speed. They can both hit some really good pace on first serve, but there's a big drop in regards to speed on second serve. A little smile from Osaka here, just realising the opportunity to at least make Pliskova have to play a volley.
It's a good serve against somebody trying to crowd you, isn't it?
Yeah, the body serve. If someone's well inside the baseline like that, sometimes the best serve you can hit and most effective is directly at the body.
It's good movement again to stay in the rally to start with, and then, well, quite expert vision to see a gap down the line that not too many of us could see. Look how well she stays through that shot. And again, that's impressive. 21 years of age, but she looks so mature when she takes on rallies like that.
Osaka leads 2-1.
And Osaka makes the first move. She was born for this, wasn't she? No, she just looks so comfortable on the big courts.
Yeah, and like I said, for 21, having had that one major, even the way, as you said, is composing herself in that moment at US Open. Not many young women on tour could handle those moments like Naomi did. And then to continually from there want to improve, want to get better is impressive.
Time.
Well, it's a good ticket to have today to
Take your seats quickly, please.
the ladies' semi-final matches, and one of the biggest sporting personalities, I have to say, at the moment. Naomi Osaka, certainly so much growing interest in her. Starting to build quite the reputation in Grand Slams as well now.
Just in the bottom right-hand corner there, take a look at the total distance run for both players throughout the tournament. Karolina Pliskova putting in a little bit of extra running there.
30-15.
Can almost see in that rally, Pliskova took the first opportunity to take her backhand down the line. It's almost going to be a bit of a tug-of-war in that regard. We know Pliskova likes to play line balls where possible. Yeah, there we go again. 112 for the second serve. Tries to put a little bit of a kick on it, but it doesn't really have the same kick as, say, a Serena or a Sam Stosur.
Those type of rallies, that's something that Sasha certainly brought to the Osaka work ethic, is lots of 3-minute drills from the back of the court, making sure that not only is her mind focused for the intensity of, well, probably the longest point you'll play is maybe around 90 seconds in general, will be one of the longest, but double that amount to make sure that physically as well, she's able to last the course of those individual rallies. Not even breathing, you can see.
Well, they're really important when you're developing a young player, aren't they? I would almost call that a little bit old school in regards to length of time drilling, but once you build that base, you walk out on court and almost feel invincible.
Yeah, I mean, I think, as you say, there's a lot of sports science that's crept into our sport, and some of it makes some good sense, some of it maybe not so much, but ultimately you want to train for tennis, and that's what makes total sense when you're doing stuff like that. Always put a little bit on it as well from a forfeit point of view, those two. And I know one famous time, Sasha ended up having a burst onto Jamie Murray's court at Evert's Academy and bust out a few dance moves.
I did see that.
Game.
Pliskova keeping herself at least close to Osaka in this opening set with a clean hold.
Osaka leads 3-15.
With the US Open champion 3-2 up. It is an interesting dynamic, a player-coach relationship, isn't it? We've got another one with Pliskova. Obviously, she's been with various coaches over the years and has currently got this set up with Conchita coming in just before the US Open last year. She was on holiday. Renee kind of double-dipping, understandably so, and it seems to work well. Is it a freshness thing for a player at times, do you think?
Yeah, I think as long as everyone is on the same page, there's no doubt it can work. I think the setup that they have works well at the moment because Karolina is hearing a different voice, but she's also hearing the same message, which I think is the most important thing. She doesn't mind the setup. She's happy with, I think, the variety. We'll see how it goes throughout the year.
Composed start to this semi-final for Osaka. Grew up in Japan for the first 3 years, took her mother's name because of that. Just a lot easier to enroll in school and general life in Japan before moving to the US.
15 months.
USTA came a-calling around 16 years of age for Osaka. They wondered then whether maybe she would play for America, but by that stage she had committed to Japan. Given the groundbreaking results that she's had of late, I'm sure her bank account has been very happy with that decision.
And I think Japan are certainly happy that they've got her as well. Beautiful forehand here from Osaka. Well measured, picked her spot, good shape. And good commitment to that as well.
Oh.
That's what you call absorbing pace. Look, she's in a lunge position, as well as not slowing the racket face down.
Game, Osaka.
So good. That was a test, and she came through it with flying colours.
14-2.
Culturally as well for Japan, Osaka a big story, of course, because of her parents, father from Haiti and one from Japan, and well, her mother was supposedly going to be in an arranged marriage over there before admitting that she was seeing her current father now, Naomi's father. So it's been a very big story for them on a number of levels, not just on a sporting success level, but of course that is what's brought it to prominence. But that is why she is going to be such a big part of the Olympics, of course, going to Tokyo.
Yeah, that's going to be huge, isn't it, 2020? With Osaka, there's no doubt the way she's playing at the moment, she's certainly a chance for a medal.
This is good first strike tennis from both off the return. There's a lot of middle balls, as you'll see, everyone trying to cut the angles down, but Pliskova there doing a great job of adjusting herself to create room. So good to watch.
30.
Great balance, great split steps. Didn't overcommit to run to the space down the line. And because of that, was able to find the line herself. Starting to move through the gears as she's done throughout this tournament. Chance for a second break. Oh, that's well saved.
Yes.
It's a bit of how we saw her play at the end of that match against Serena yesterday. She almost had nothing to lose. She started swinging freely. Very, very different part of the match, though. Trying to stay in this first set.
Advantage Pliskova.
Trying to keep the point short. That's where she's the most competitive at the moment against Osaka. Won 17 of those rallies between 0 and 4 shots and lost 16, but Osaka doing better over the longer distance so far. But that will be problematic if she starts producing that type of return. So explosive.
This is the best I've seen Osaka start in the few matches that I've watched of her throughout this tournament. Yesterday against Svitolina, and today again she's been sharp.
Too much pressure exerted on the Pliskova serve, and Osaka does break through for a second break. It's 5-2 in the opening set.
Osaka leads 5-2.
And you have to say, Casey, she's young. She's 21 years of age. She has an awful lot on her shoulders in terms of expectations. Apart from the pressure she clearly puts on herself as a very competitive person. Perhaps not surprising that she hasn't played her best. She played well against Lynette. She had a lot of winners in that match, but since then she struggled. But we see that with quite a lot of great players as well, that, you know, if they can just stay in the tournament long enough, their best tennis filters through.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree more. And I think having some of those tests throughout the tournament allow you to come out here and play some better tennis, because there's nothing like being challenged at a Grand Slam. But gosh, yeah, Osaka did such a good job of keeping her composure. Always feels like she's got a very mature head on her.
Well, Osaka has reached the semi-finals or better of 5 of her last 6 events, and just to echo what Casey was saying, that, you know, since that US Open triumph, there has just been no letdown, no hangover from it. She's gone from strength to strength.
The reason why is she's very accountable for her actions. She's active on social media. Naomi Osaka, there was a particular match where she didn't behave like she felt like she should have, and almost was apologetic and said, I will get better, and taking responsibility for that behaviour, I think, helps a young player.
Was that Serenko in Brisbane?
Correct, yeah, when she didn't. It was more about her attitude that she wasn't overly pleased with, and made it known to the public that it wouldn't happen again, and it actually hasn't since then. When she's been down, she's always found a way, and mostly just had a very good attitude about her tennis.
30-15.
There's a certain logic to hitting a slow second serve at times, because it does buy you that extra step back behind the baseline, doesn't it? We often talk about speed, but sometimes throwing in slower serves actually does allow you to set better. As you can see there, that's back at her very swiftly. She is incredibly good, a bit like Kerber at that sort of lunge step, though, is down low.
Almost the one that used to do it amazing was Radwanska. She was the queen of getting in these squat lunge positions.
Yes, he called it out. Osaka is challenging to call on the right center service line. The ball is called out.
First serve down the tee, and that is her fastest serve of the tournament. I thought so. Crucial one as it brings up set point. That is very New York reminiscent.
16-2.
Tidy first set from Osaka.
Said a tidy set from Naomi Osaka. Was very, very disciplined from the back of the court. Played cross-court, high percentage when she needed to, and was aggressive. And you can see there with the 16 winners of her racket and only 4 off Karolina Pliskova. We look at the first line where we see 80% of first serves, but I don't think she was as effective as Naomi Osaka was on serve. Some beautiful hitting from both players, but it really was Osaka that was up. Aggressive. Feet were going great throughout this first set. We see here just committing to the open court when she had the time. And particularly served well throughout the first set.
Well, it was a fun first set to watch, especially if you are supporting Osaka, but just the quality of her ball striking and her ability on a tennis court is a joy to behold. 50% of the job done for Osaka. And I know, Casey, you do your homework. She's currently on a 12-match win streak at Grand Slams, but even more impressive when she wins the opening set.
Yeah. It's the one thing that stood out to me when I was looking at Osaka's note. 58 matches straight. When she has won the first set, she's gone on to win the match. That's quite incredible. The last loss was in Tianjin, 2016, against Kuznetsova. I was waiting till she won the first set before I mentioned it, because it's such a big, it's an important statistic when you're talking about a player like Osaka. Well, he's directed many famous movies in his time, but Baz Luhrmann getting very excited here at the tennis.
Might well be directing her documentary one day. You never know, her bio doc.
It'd be a good story.
It's a great story, let's be honest.
30 all.
I wonder how big that net cord will be in the context maybe of this game, but ultimately the match. Does it allow Pliskova to get a bit of traction in this second set? She would have been down love 40.
People might question Karolina Pliskova's her ability to come back after that match against Serena, but I don't think it's really affected her in this match. I feel like it's more just the fact that Osaka has come out playing such a high level at this point.
And she continues that trend.
First game, second set.
And she has the firepower and the court positioning to exploit Pliskova's movement. You talked about it at the start as we see the win predictor that is now heavily swung in favor of Osaka. It was in favor of Pliskova, but you know, I think that was a fair reflective of how they'd got through to the semi-finals, that they had maybe given Pliskova the slight edge, but now with Osaka. But she has that court positioning and weight of shot to exploit that movement, as I was saying, of Pliskova. We're seeing it here, particularly quickly off the return.
15.
Yeah, no doubt off the returner serve, can feel Pliskova feeling rushed. And then again here, if she doesn't do a good job with the return, Osaka's going to use that time to get on the front foot.
Let the service.
Good net clearance this time from Pliskova. Obviously a fairly flat hitter of the ball, but as you can see here, the height over the net gave her the depth the other side.
It's probably the first time in this match I feel like Osaka's just picked the wrong shot selection here. I think she knows that one should have gone back cross court.
Good defense from Pliskova. Always easy to look at the mistake from Osaka in that situation, but Pliskova's done a great job of chiseling a number of shots back that looked unlikely. Too good.
Yeah. She's really served well under pressure today, Osaka.
Failed though in that attempt to find the down the line backhand, which had scored so well in the opening set. And the lead she had quickly established in this second erased.
love the team.
Won just 2 out of 10 second serve points in this match, Pliskova. You do feel as though she's going to have to just up the risk profile on her second serve in terms of speed.
Yeah, she's just in trouble every time, isn't she? Just can feel it as soon as she has to hit a second serve. Osaka is so far inside the baseline, and if she hasn't hit a clean winner off the serve, it's been 1 or 2 shots later.
This time the net court does help her. Pliskova unable to carve out any kind of response to it, really. Pliskova stands so deep when she comes in for her volleys at times. Doesn't continue to split forward and close the net down. Her sister does it as well, actually. If you look at where she comes in, it's almost like they've been coached to go stand there.
Well, if there's one person that's going to change it, it's Renee Stubbs and Conchita Martinez, because I don't know if I've seen 2 better volleyers in regards to court positioning. Volleys are one thing, but it's the positioning that you mentioned that makes such a difference with volleying.
It's the visual image, isn't it, as well, of somebody and how they can defend the net, squeeze the margins. You go across, I think, both Pliskova's sisters, if you pass cross-court, you're going to win the point 90%, because they have to volley up if they're that far away from the net in the center all the time, even if they can reach it.
Yeah, but with their height and their wingspan, you would think it would be a different story.
Good stubborn defense from Pliskova of her serve here.
Advantage, Pliskova.
That's a terrific hold. Looked unlikely at love 40. 5 straight points. And it puts a totally different complexion on this match.
2 games to 1.
Good couple of first serves extracted, missed returns from Osaka. Can't really criticize the court position, the return position from the Japanese star at the moment, because she has been breaking serve so often, but just a couple that got away from her there. Pliskova has shown some mental strength in this tournament.
She has, and I know it's also a part of her game that she's trying to continue to improve. But I do like a few of those serves there. Just at 155, but we know how much trouble she's having on second serve, and just trying to get a little bit more movement on the ball as opposed to trying to hit aces. It is quite unusual not to see Pliskova have hitting an ace at this point of the match. Not one.
Time.
Well, the place to be is actually in the Yarra, not above the Yarra right now. The weather outside above 40 degrees. The roof is on. everybody a winner because of that decision right now. Players, spectators, courts outside, suspended for the time being. Had to be vigilant, came back.
We've seen some good defensive play from Karolina Pliskova. I think Osaka will have seen those last couple of games as a bit of an opportunity to take a bit of a stranglehold on this match, but not to be. And up the other end, it's been good to see Pliskova continue to work on that real positive energy and mental strength that she's been working on.
40-11. Game, Osaka.
The same fate doesn't befall her as it did in the previous game when she had a lead of 3 points. Pliskova reeled off 5 straight ones to hang on to her serve, but a hold to love for Osaka and back to business trying to break Pliskova again.
That's the forehand that just has a little bit better shape on it. You can just see the trajectory, but troubling Osaka a little bit more than the flat and hard-paced shot that Pliskova tends to use.
Well, that's the counter argument to hitting your serve harder. If you're going to hit it right in the spot where your opponent wants it, you're in even more trouble.
Well, I don't think it was probably the right place to approach from Pliskova here.
Look at her footwork coming in though, Casey. Look at, there's like a sidestep. She doesn't get her right leg round in front of her left so she can cover the ground efficiently.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Out. 30-all.
She did one of her matches at Wimbledon this year. Same thing. You just watch. It's not so much that she can't volley, because she can volley, but actually getting from A to B efficiently and swiftly enough seems to be her biggest problem. It's good serve.
40-13.
It's an unorthodox forehand takeaway, isn't it? I get the sense it's very difficult to read for players.
Yeah, I've never had the opportunity to play or hit with Osaka, but you're right. I feel like she can disguise it. It's quick. The take-back's different even.
Advantage Pliskova.
The forehand cross seems to be, from what I've seen of opponents playing Osaka, seems to be the hard one to read.
Change up on the first this time for Pliskova, making sure she got it in. And it proved to pay dividends for her. 3-2, she leads, second set. Pliskova remaining calm out here at the moment, trying to solve the problem of Naomi Osaka. Doing a good job of just allowing the scoreboard to keep ticking over in her favour, having recovered the break. A little bit of frustration for the first time from Naomi in the last game off a forehand return.
Time.
A little more for the US Open champion to think about in this second set, as Pliskova makes herself difficult to dislodge from the draw.
$30-15.
Solid game here from Naomi Osaka. This tape hasn't worked in Pliskova's favour too many times today. Wow, that's impressive serving. She's hitting all spots of the court now.
3
on serve.
It became a big weapon for her in 2018, her serve as well. She really, did improve that part of the game. We've talked about the ability to stay in rallies a bit longer, that Sasha has certainly worked hard with her at.
15
She was third best on tour last year, Osaka, in terms of service games won. during her win at the US Open, won 91% of her service games.
That'll help you win a US Open title.
I would think so. Tour leading 13 matches as well last year, where she wasn't even broken. Both did well.
30 left.
There's been a lot of Japanese fans here throughout the week. Almost scheduled Osaka and Nishikori. They've been playing on the same day, so out on Margaret Court Arena, it was a sea of Japanese fans.
40-15.
Well, would you believe it? It's the first ace of the match for Pliskova.
Partly because it's a bit tougher to get past Osaka because of her court position.
Absolutely, yep.
Again, you just have to say that she's got some tough ground strokes to read as well. You look at Pliskova here, she doesn't even take a step in that direction.
Game.
But she keeps going about her business in a very professional way. And keeps staving off the challenge in this second set from Osaka to look for a second break. 4-3, Pliskova. Just a bit of readjustment for her sock, maybe. Hopefully nothing too uncomfortable for Pliskova after the gallant effort that she showed yesterday in coming back from a nearly impossible situation. A shot that reverberated around Melbourne Park.
Yeah, it was talked about throughout the evening, wasn't it?
The footfall, what's your reflections on that now?
Well, it's just so hard to know because they just didn't get the right camera angle, did they? So it's hard to know if it was actually, but if it was, it would have been very, very minuscule in regards to being a foot fault. And it's a tough call because I guess playing on tour for so long, I see how many go unnoticed, and there was a tough one.
Business end of the second set. Can Pliskova turn the tables on Osaka here? Certainly going about it in the right way, getting after that second serve. 119 there from Osaka. Followed by a 188.
Pliskova is chanting the call on the right service.
If it's in.
The ball's called in.
That matches some of her previous fastest serves from other matches, but just 3Ks down on her fastest of today.
15 all. Miss Pliskova has still chanting the win.
Exactly the same play. Interesting to see whether Osaka has the courage if this gets to 30 all and she's got a second serve to swing this out wide.
Sasha's happy, and it was a very good running forehand.
Let for service.
Sweetly struck from Pliskova, and Osaka not out of trouble yet.
This is becoming a good contest now.
Some return. And it set up the opportunity to produce a rally like that. Osaka doing her best with her athleticism to stay in the rally. But she is going to have to face a break point here. Second fastest first serve of the day as well for Osaka on the previous point.
Once again, it's the serve every time under pressure today in this match. She's come out with the goods.
Clutch forehand as well.
This is where I feel like having those tough matches in the earlier rounds and those tough moments, no doubt, help the players.
That is an exhilarating exchange.
Well, those 3-minute drills that you were talking about, Mark. There's no doubt in this point you can see that playing a part.
Some terrific anticipation from Pliskova to stay in that rally.
Our sport's good, isn't it, when you see so many different faces from the arts, from film, really enjoying this match.
15 love.
Superstars watching superstars.
Yep, from different fields, but sport always brings people together.
Late bloomer on the Grand Slam scene was Pliskova. Took a long time for her to get through the round of 32. US Open, of course, 2016, when she finally made that run through to the final. Was when she first broke through that particular barrier. And did it in some fashion as well. Wins over Venus and Serena en route.
Yeah, it's an interesting concept for some players. I think Pliskova has had that #1 world ranking, but hasn't got a major to her name, and it was a bit the same as Karolina Wozniacki's situation. I have no doubt Karolina Pliskova at some point, she's well and truly in this match and got a great opportunity here at the Australian Open, but going to win a Grand Slam. But even Wozniacki said she felt it made a difference for her winning that major.
Just a little over-anxious more than anything else there, Osaka. A couple of unforced errors have allowed Pliskova off the hook. 5-4 to the former world #1. Against a player who could end the tournament as world #1.
All three players at this point currently can take the title as well as the #1 ranking. A lot up for grabs. It's got good depth, the women's game, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's great. Every tournament you feel like anybody can step up and do well. Danielle Collins obviously showing that here. And she was close to being out in the opening round against Gorgeous, up down 6-5 in the second 30 love. So, yep, it's certainly unpredictable. It's a nice part of it as well as we take a drift in to court 3, Margaret Court, and there Rod Laver. All the convertibles with their roofs on right now, and the spectators doing the right thing there, gravitating towards the shade in that little circle with the big screen, staying out of the heat and humidity that has descended on Melbourne, which has made this contest certainly a little easier for the players physically to consider going to 3 sets as well, not having to conserve their energy, and it may well get there as well. Osaka serving to stay in the second set.
Lovely team.
Pliskova doing a great job here, isn't she? Just mentally staying on task. Not thinking too much about scoreline or situation, just thinking about the process, each point.
Yeah, I slowed out as well. Love 13.
And the longer you hang around, you never quite know what is going to be the defining moment. There was a net cord at love 30 in the opening game of the second set. We wonder whether that was going to be crucial. Ended up hasn't to be so important. That done, though, maybe.
Out. Love 14.
Because it has definitely added to the tension that Osaka has shown in the last game and a bit. The missed return started off at 30 all in the previous game.
Thank you.
And Pliskova with 3 set points. Turned things around brilliantly, Pliskova. We're all tied, set apiece in the second women's singles semi-final.
She had a few opportunities there early in that second set to make some strides, Naomi Osaka, but Karolina just doing such a tremendous job in hanging around, taking care of what she needed to do. A lot more winners off the racket of Naomi Osaka, but Pliskova's ratio of winners to unforced errors is still very good. Got the couple of breaks.
It was actually her willingness to stay deep in rallies in that second set rather than go for anything too big too early that I felt actually turned it around for her.
Yeah, we saw a few unforced errors off the racket of Naomi Osaka. A little bit of frustration there at the end of that set.
Time. Final set. Pliskova to serve.
So much on the line. And just one set to decide who's going through to the women's final to take on Petra Kvitova. Got out of a chair with a fair bit of urgency here, Osaka. Good start to the third from her.
I think it's good thing for Pliskova that she broke serve there in that position she did in the second set. She is serving first now, and just that scoreboard pressure there in the second set towards the end I felt helped Pliskova. I think she started to use that body serve a little bit more, starting to realise and see Osaka's court position.
Just a little bit of panic from Osaka here, just not quite sure how to get round Pliskova. Trying to go through her in a very linear way rather than spreading the plate. And the errors are coming fast and furiously from Osaka's racket. Certainly not easy to go on and make another final of a major after you win your maiden one. You have to go all the way back to 2001. Jennifer Capriati, who won the Australian in 2001, then made the final of the French, beating Kim Clijsters in that epic 12-10 in the third. So no foregone conclusion that Osaka will get there. And Pliskova certainly making it as hard a route as possible. You've played Pliskova, and you said how difficult it was to read the serve. You're just getting a sense of it out here from Osaka. We are being told that serve is out. Osaka perhaps just starting to lose a bit of focus, maybe.
Yeah, and you can see a little bit of panic in Osaka affecting her tennis.
When you talk, Casey, about a great serve and you can't really read it, is it purely ball toss?
Yeah, for me it always was, because I always felt when the ball toss went over someone's head, if they were going to kick it a little bit more or a bit further to the right, they'd come around it. And I just felt Pliskova's ball toss was very, very similar to whatever serve she would play. And obviously coming from she's a tall girl, came from a difficult height, got really good location on serve.
One of the best backhand winners you will see. That's an outrageous shot. Such good defense in the middle of that rally as well that found the baseline of Pliskova.
30-15.
Some points are just bigger than others.
Getting back to Pliskova serve, I always felt, for me, she was always one of the hardest players to break serve to her, and the immense pressure that you then felt on your serve. You see a little bit of frustration from Osaka to hold serve, just accumulated over a match as through the length of a match.
30-14.
Particularly when you are serving from behind.
Osaka getting the affection of the crowd here. And she uses that energy to good effect.
Not bad defense here from Karolina Pliskova, just making Osaka play a couple extra balls, but that forehand was super aggressive.
Advantage, Pliskova.
That is a look of somebody who feels that this may be getting away from her. Again, it's Pliskova's ability to just eradicate unforced errors. Second chance to break. Courageous.
Fearless.
Courage born out of application on the practice courts, that she believed she would make it. And she's transferred it beautifully onto the match court there.
Looks really calm, doesn't she, Pliskova? And has throughout the match.
In a match of such small margins, that was a half a chance here for Pliskova. Read it the direction of the backhand from Osaka. Although I do think Osaka would have been there even if she'd have made the forehand. She was on her way to cover the space. Monumental hold.
One game.
Played those break points. Pretty clutch. Serve again, only as we see 110 kilometres an hour. She just allowing Osaka to take control of the point for the match. She has only won literally 3 of 18 points on a second serve at 17%, which is...
Depends on your perspective, I guess. If you're Sasha Bayen, you're going to say you're the greatest coach in the world because you've concocted a plan there that has kept her to those numbers. If you're Pliskova, you're going to be worried.
Absolutely.
That was special. Carves out 3 break points. How quickly matches can turn around. Osaka was looking a little out of it in the previous game. Pliskova pressing for an early break, but it ultimately is the US Open champion who grabs it 2-1.
Osaka leads 2 games to 1.
Well, when you're playing at times, you don't love the swift directional change of the pendulum, but when we're watching, we savor it.
Yeah. No, I'm loving this contest, and it is a game of chess, tennis, and it's a game of millimetres, and you can just see there the complete switch where we thought Pliskova had the upper hand, and all of a sudden she's now down a break.
And this is where the game does get mental, isn't it? From your Pliskova's point of view, you just have to sit there and tell yourself, keep doing the same things. All you've got to do is take one of those points. Can she keep coming up with those backhands down the line?
Yeah, absolutely. Keep asking the question of your opponent. But yeah, it's Pliskova needs to try and forget about those couple of opportunities there as quickly as she can. And
then truly underway here against Osaka and Pliskova. Osaka just having the upper hand here. There'll be no respite, you feel, from the superstar from Japan, from Pliskova. Breakdown in the third, that's nothing.
15 love.
not when you were 5-1 down against Serena in a double break yesterday.
4 match points, of course. She's looking to become the 6th woman ever to have won the Australian Open, having saved match points along the way.
Yeah, it's happened here quite a few times, hasn't it? Remember Lina back a few years ago when she won here at the Australian Open.
Kerber.
Kerber, that's right. She was playing Misaki Doi that.
First round.
Yep.
14 love.
Beautiful introduction, the drop shot there.
14. Game, Osaka.
Osaka keen not to allow Pliskova to add to the historical trivia of this Australian Open. And that is a nice run of games.
15 love. Love.
Just what she needs. Not just a hold a serve, but a swift one.
Light for service. Game, Pliskova.
Which is what she got. Not the agonies of the previous service game where Osaka broke to love. Is that the first sign of wear and tear?
Potentially, yeah. Looks like she's stretching out her glute there. Certainly a long match. This part of the draw obviously having to back up the next day.
You have a strong feeling on that or not? Is it fine?
It's fine. It's just, I guess, the luck of the draw.
Well, you would rather have the earlier start and the day off.
Yeah, I think I'd rather stick to that schedule for sure. Although, in saying that, majority of the tournaments you're used to playing day after day, so it's not different in that regard. But yeah, when you're on a day on, day off routine during a major, I think you prefer to stick to that.
Time.
Osaka serving at 3-2 up with the break in the third.
Love.
Both, of course, with sisters. Pliskova's sister, Christina, 2 minutes older than her, but 18 months difference between Naomi and Mari. And this competitiveness that we're seeing from Naomi right now, born out of the rivalry with her sister, said it took her 12 years of persisting before she finally beat her.
Yeah, I think all of us who have siblings and they're very close in age, there's no doubt that that drives you. You've seen it with the Williams sisters, and there's a lot of siblings in tennis actually that seem to have pushed each other along the way.
Game, Osaka.
Excellent serving. We've highlighted the improvements in that area of her game last year statistically, but to produce it in the most intense pressurized situations as she's done here in Melbourne and of course in New York, hugely impressive for one so young. Osaka keen for another break of serve.
You mentioned the word competitiveness with Osaka, and it's just so evident, isn't it? I'm not saying Pliskova isn't as competitive, but with her body language, you can just see her slapping her leg, fist pumping, even at love 40 in that previous service game of Pliskova, just knowing how crucial every point is at this stage of a match.
30-11.
Longest consecutive streak on serve for Pliskova, keeping Osaka very quiet on returns at the moment. That's 7 points in a row. Conchita Martinez, she's had a terrific record coaching players at majors recently. Of course, was with Muguruza when she won Wimbledon.
Game.
That's what the neutrals want. A tight, tense third set, and that's exactly what we've got. Osaka leading by the break, 4-3.
Stretching out that left glute once again, it looks like. The left knee taped. Sometimes when you have that injury on one side of your body, it can tend to compensate in a different area. Also massaging her, what looks like maybe her hip flexor there. I mean, nothing like a bit of adrenaline can't put a stop to.
Time.
Casey was highlighting the fact that Osaka's won her last 58 matches when she won the opening set. Of course, Pliskova we were talking about yesterday with that fantastic record in Grand Slams, having won her last 9 deciding set matches. Something's got to give here.
She handled that return perfectly, didn't she? Was almost on her toes, but again, just absorbing that pace.
Osaka no slouch down the stretch though herself. She's won the last 6 out of 7 at majors as well. Only loss coming 2017 US Open against Kaya Kanepi. Certainly no disgrace there. We've been witness to a bit of fatigue for Pliskova at the change of ends. She's been stretching out her quad. First signs of that. Just maybe finally the exploits of this tournament, but particularly from yesterday, catching up with her. It's worth the challenge.
They'll definitely be challenging this one.
The ball's called out.
Had a lot of side spin on it. Smart money is that it's missed.
Mm. 40-15. Pliskova has one turn to make.
That's better. She missed the previous forehand return, which was definitely a makeable return.
Use. Volt.
Three identical points. Big return, forehand missed from Osaka. Break point. That is immense. Great length. And there's no question, Casey, at this stage of a tight, tense final set, what she achieved at Flushing Meadows has to help her.
Absolutely, 100%. Being out here as a Grand Slam winner, dealing with those moments, in a moment like this, there's no doubt got to be in your favour.
You have to admire that.
I mean, those last 3 points were, you said immense, but they were clutch, they were disciplined.
And they were full of belief.
Which I think is, you're right, the most important thing to mention in all of it.
Love.
showing positive body language. But for me, seeing a 21-year-old like Osaka, just the way she goes about her business at this point in the match, the constant fist pumping, the constant leg slapping. There's no doubt it's got to help your performance.
Pliskova once again, absolutely wonderful with her back firmly against the wall.
I'm sure Naomi saw that match yesterday as well and knew how much, as you said, Pliskova's back was up against the wall and she didn't hold back.
Done everything that's within her control. Pliskova hanging on to her serve, forcing Osaka to serve for her place in the final. She's shown good maturity over the last, well, almost, what is it, 24 hours that she's been out here in this competitive cauldron against some of the best players in the world, the current US Open champion and the greatest of all time in many people's eyes, Serena Williams. Pliskova, they don't come much tougher than this to make a final of a major.
No, she's had a tough run. She's definitely been impressive in regards to her mental approach into all of her matches. As you said, the only thing she can do now, she's taken care of what she can control. And now she can show Osaka what she's got.
Time.
A prodigious talent. She rose to prominence in New York. Can she do the same here in Melbourne? The crowd's loyalties are not divided. It's not because they don't admire Pliskova, but the birth of a new, genuine superstar in the women's game has got their attention.
See Osaka's face there, immediately resetting after that backhand in the net, knowing it's time to quickly forget about it and move on.
you like. No matter what turmoil she's feeling internally, externally, she looks ready to take her place in the final of the Australian Open. Out has been called. Just what this match needed. An injection of drama.
Oh, thank goodness for Hawkeye.
From the land of the rising sun, it's a daughter that has risen the highest once again. Through to a second consecutive major final, and she is going to be a major presence in many of them to come. You have to love her.
You have to love her, and you have to love her tennis. It was great today. It was tremendous, actually. She hit a total of 56 winners throughout that match. Served so well, particularly under pressure. Fantastic tournament for Karolina Pliskova as well. Obviously, there will be some disappointment, no doubt, but for Osaka, as you said, to back up that US Open win and to be in another final, it's quite astonishing, isn't it, for a young lady?
First time since 2001, Jennifer Capriati, who managed it in Australia, then went on to win at the French in epic style against the wonderful Kim Clijsters. Can Osaka do that against Petra Kvitova, who has been in quite simply sensational form here in the Australian summer? She is magnificent, Naomi Osaka. The transformation in the last year has been superb to watch, as was the smile that transformed her day. She's with Sam Smith to discuss taking that very, very big step through to this final.
Naomi, a wonderful performance. Congratulations. You're starting to make a habit of making these Grand Slam finals. But how difficult was it for you when Karolina came back at you in that second set?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of expected it a little because I played her so many times, and honestly, she beat me more than I beat her. So I was expecting a really hard battle, and I just told myself to regroup in the third set, and no matter what, just try as hard as I can, and I managed to win. So.
Very tough serving out in that final set. Was there anything through your run at the US Open back in September that helped you stay calm?
Yeah, I mean, I guess just experience playing matches like this. To be honest, I was so scared serving second serves. I was like, oh my God, please. Yeah, and somehow I made it, so I guess that's experience. I don't know, though.
Still only 21. You've got about 48 hours until you're back on this court for the final on Saturday. When we were out here last time, you said you've been doing a lot of walking in Melbourne. Are you going to do some more of that?
I'm going to go to sleep. Yeah, and then maybe after that, I might walk, but probably not, to be honest.
The walking is working, Naomi.
I'm not sure about that.
You were under the roof today. Were you pleased that the roof was shut?
To be honest, I like the heat, so I was kind of sad about that.
It's 40 degrees out there.
No, but like, you know, they had the roof open, and I was like, oh, it's my time to shine, you know?
Well, I think everyone in here was quite pleased it was shut. Just want to say something. Back in Japan, I think it's a couple of hours behind here. It's sort of afternoon. A lot of Japanese are leaving their desks at work. Would you like to say a couple of words to them for back home in Japanese?
Hi, はい、こんにちは。皆さん、応援本当にありがとうございます。次の試合を頑張ります。ありがとう。
Can you just tell? Can you tell all of us that can't speak Japanese what you just said?
Shh, it's a secret. No.
You have to. You can't. You have to tell me now.
Yeah, I mean, I just said thank you for cheering, and I'll try my best in my next match, and yeah, that's basically it.
Naomi, many congratulations. We'll see you Saturday. Ladies and gentlemen, Naomi Osaka.
Well, she has the name of the city of birth, but she has a country supporting her. And there are millions more loving her tennis. It's a very attractive brand, Casey.
It is. It's great for the sport to see someone like Naomi Osaka out here. Her personality, her funniness, people enjoy that.
She's a bit quirky, which we love.
Yeah, we do. I think it's important for the sport to have different characters, and there's no doubt Naomi Osaka brings that.
And I think it's important for the media as well to cut her a bit of slack if things don't always come across in the way that we expect, because you don't want her to change too much and get too clinical with everything. We've been known in the past for that to happen, and hopefully it won't, because as much as her tennis will carry a lot of goodwill, still need her to be as natural and as authentic as she was. And I say, that's what I'm talking about, the brand. The brand is winners. I mean, 26 in the plus column.
Yeah, that's astonishing, isn't it? And no doubt why she was the winner here today. She also served 15 aces, which is a high amount for any female player in any match. But yeah, she was the aggressive player. Like you said, that's her brand of tennis. She played some great stuff out there, and she will be very, very excited to be out here on Saturday in another Grand Slam final.
Well, there she was trying to relax herself as it got tighter in that final set, but just as she did in New York, she leaves the court undefeated for the time being. Takes on the big swinging left-hander, also from the Czech Republic, in the face of Petra Kvitova. You couldn't really ask for a more attractive women's final.